Meeting called to order, 6:52 p.m. President Ganda. Present. Director Ahmadani. Present. Director Khan.
Present.
Director Denson.
Present.
Director Ogle. Director Bardwaj.
Present.
Senator Gurley.
Present.
Senator Smith.
Here.
Senator Scruton.
Here.
Senator Morris.
Present.
Senator Carter.
Present.
Senator Chakraborty. Senator Bedard.
Present.
Senator Odira. Sorry, the roster's not in front of me. Okay. I entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented. Senator Carter,
Move to approve the agenda as presented.
is there a second?
I second that.
All in favor, raise your right hand. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Agenda is approved as presented. I entertain a motion to approve the previous meeting minutes.
I move to approve the previous meeting minutes.
Is there a second? Senator Morris.
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Previous meeting minutes are approved as presented. Okay, moving on to director reports, starting with President Ganda.
No report.
Okay. I also don't have a report tonight. Director Ahmadani.
So yesterday I met with Nathan and Faith Cody from SIL, and we went over the final logistics of Fire Pit. So for those of you watching, or for those of you with us right now, Fire Pit is our talent show. It's a fifth annual talent show that we're having next week, Wednesday, April 10th at 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. And I hope you guys can all make it. Is that it?
Director Khan.
So yesterday, in our second last funding board meeting, we approved 2 funding requests. Total amount approved was 1447. Total funding amount remaining is 1622. And Senate amount remaining is 19,837. And admin budget is remaining $8,975. In our next and final funding board meeting will be held on Wednesday, April 17th. So that will be our next meeting. The main agenda of that meeting will be to review the funding board charter, which all of the members will talk about. Talked about the whole semester. We found several things we need to talk about in our funding board. So our plan is to hand over the funding board charter with proposed amendment to our advisor and to the next administration. And finally, I'd like to say that I have identified my possible successor as our advisor told me to do so. So let me know if you guys need me to help with the selection or hand over the responsibilities in this April, because from May onwards I'll be totally off the grid. So remember that. With that,
Thank you. Director Johnson.
Students and Michigan Committee is next Saturday. If you have anything you want to put on that agenda, let me know. Yes.
Director Bardwaj.
So the student survey concern for the student concern is available online. It has been sent out to all the social media platforms and should be posted by tomorrow morning. And part of student survey, part of student concerns, I received a letter from engineering students there was a petition for around 200 signatures from the students. It's a pretty lengthy letter, but in short, it lists main concerns as the following. One student's list is the core course offerings. Second is the increase in course fees. Third is students' concerns about advising and having less advisors. The fourth is for the department secretaries and the whole reorganization of College of Arts and Sciences. In the end, the letter from engineering student body makes the following requests. Quote, the establishment of a new College of Engineering and the allocation of 100% of the new MSB extension to the engineering program 2020. An increase in course offerings by offering all core courses and sufficient number of electives each semester as well as 4 to 5 additional engineering courses during spring-summer semesters starting spring 2019. To hire 3 or 4 additional full-time engineering faculty in 2020 to offer all core courses and a sufficient number of electives each semester. Launch an undergraduate electrical engineering program at Michigan-Flint in 2020 to expand the program to level equivalent to those of competing institutions. And the last is to reduce the prefix lab fee from $90 to $20, which was in 2017-2018, and refund the increased prefix lab fee charged by Flint to engineering students in fall 2018 and winter 2019 by June 30, 2019. This request has also been forwarded to my understanding, to Ann Arbor, to the dean, the vice chancellor, and I think the provost's office. So with that, I yield.
Okay. I do have a report. I'm sorry. False alarm. So my report is that first, senators have been notified to start the transition process into the next administration. They've each, for the people that do have ongoing projects, I've asked them to print out summaries of where they're at and what stage they're at in their caucus in order to hand that over to the Bardwaj and Odira administration. With that being said, we've also dismissed the deadlines for the affordability guide. That is also a project that will now move into the next administration. Because Senate decided that in order to ensure high quality work, we think that it's best to not rush this at this time. But all of our work, we're still going to be doing work on it. It's just not going to be completed this semester. And then the last thing that I had to say was the next parking pit committee is on April 17th. I really need someone to go to that. So if anyone is capable of going, it's at 11 and it's on a Wednesday. Thank you. Okay, I'll give you more information on that. Oh, do you have a question or are you actually volunteering?
I was going to ask how long it's going to be.
Oh, it's typically like an hour. I'm sorry, Tev.
I can go.
Oh, okay, thank you. They also asked about the future meetings, and I CC'd Director Bardwaj on those emails so that he is the point of contact for all future committee meetings with the park committee. With that, I yield to Senator reports. Vice Chair Chakraborty?
No report.
Senator Carter?
No report.
Senator Morris?
No report.
Senator Bennett?
The SIL Scholarship Committee met yesterday and went through the process, so that's done for the semester.
Director Salisbury, I'm so sorry.
In terms of social media posting, the mental health awareness publication has been posted on all of our social media platforms, as well as the tax assistance program that's happening this weekend on April 6th. That has been published on all social media platforms, as well as Google publication for ITS, kind of our announcement to campus about Google. That is posted on our social media, and they have shared and retweeted as well. And then the giant Google poster on the USEN stairway, I helped put that up, and we've gotten some good feedback from that. So with that, I yield.
Thank you. I'm really sorry about that.
Okay.
I'm used to.
I'm glad you didn't fall off.
Okay, Senator Odira?
Yes. So I attended the student health meeting today at 9 a.m. And there are a couple events that are coming up, so I'll start with those. No, sorry. Let me actually start with the expansion of MSB. The Circle Drive will be closed. So in terms of public safety, I spoke to Sergeant Kirby, and now students will be picked either from Lot A, which is the lot right next to the rec center, or they will be picked up from the French Hall pickup as opposed to the Circle Drive, starting I think Sunday. On top of that, there are a couple things coming up. For example, June 22nd, there's Flint Pride. April 16th, 11 a.m. In the loft, there is the official dedication of the food pantry. April 15th to April 20th, there is a de-stress yoga week. I have a flyer for it too in case anyone wants to see that. So here it is. There is also, and so this coming Saturday for $35, there is a hats and gloves event at the North Bank Center, which is pretty much an event where they empower ladies and just speak to them how it's like to be a lady and everything. Another thing is there were a ton of awesome resources that could help with the affordability guide, so that's something to take note of. Oh yeah, they also said that students from the states that are citizens here that make under $50,000 could potentially be eligible for free healthcare. They just have to speak to the Genesee County Good Coalition to see if they qualify for Medicaid, and that is it. Out of that, I yield.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Advisor report? I have no report. Sorry, I missed you the first time. Senator Gurley?
So I met with the food advisory committee on the 25th, so it was a while ago. But they brought up concerns about labeling different catered meals, and how they're working on new label cards that will contain major allergens and ingredients. We talked about their breakfast hours, and we talked about extending it so students who have 9:30 classes could still make it there in time to get breakfast afterwards. They talked about different times of student rushes and volumes of students using CASO and various food centers on campus. They talked about the difference between residential point of view and commuter point of view for using food and how they're going to help residents in the future. And they also talked about more on-demand options in the future, looking into using apps or emails to order foods. And then, yeah, with that, I yield.
Thank you. Senator?
No report.
Senator Sturgill?
No report.
Director.
Senator Gurley, can you please send me your report?
Yes.
Are there any other reports? Senator? Okay, are there any university committee reports? Vice Chair Chakraborty?
Well, this was from last week because clearly some people get passes, but I do not. So, this is the enrollment committee report. Everyone has been surviving on advisor notes without support from Oracle. So that's some software they use for enrollment, I believe. Also, K-12 and dual enrollment program is not a service. It leads to higher yield rates and also brings in quite a bit of money for the university. And one deep class getting canceled can mean the whole program getting canceled. Enrollment has been declining in Michigan and the county. We are now full partners in the Flint Promise update. So students can now go from high school to here. After applying for FAFSA and merit, whatever is left will be billed at the rate of not community courses. And bless you. They need to be ready for strategic enrollment management committee.
Thank you. Director Barbage?
So for College of Arts and Sciences Academic Standards Committee met this Wednesday. For the American Sign Language 113, it was eliminated, and ASC has issued a blank waiver of ASL 113 for students who have taken ASL 112 prior to summer 2018. For ASC, we'll be reviewing and acting on petitions. The major discussion was regarding the 40 hours rule. So future petitions requesting waiver of 40 hours rule will be considered as one of the tags and will be reviewed by the committee chairs in case any students would like to petition that. And right now, next week, we'll be updating the forms and policies for all the ASC. With that, I yield.
Thank you. Director Salisbury?
So the Google Migration Advisory Board met on Monday, and they have been moving forward with migrating faculty and staff groups, mostly groups in NBC or North Bank Center this week. Facilities and public safety will be migrating next week. Then they also wanted to emphasize team drives, which is something that will be available for any Google user. So basically, it's something where you can create a little mini drive that you can invite people to, and it'll be a little collaboration space. So the biggest application I see for this is students like doing a capstone project or something like that, or even any group project for a class. You can just create a team drive and add people to it. That'll be available to students, staff, and faculty. With that, I yield.
Thank you. Any other, Senator Benson?
The Student Concerns Committee meets on the 19th of April. So either send in your issues through the Hear My Voice portal, email me personally, or just grab me and let me know. So if there's anything I need to bring up or put on the agenda, please let me know.
Any other university committee reports? No? Okay. Floor is now closed. Moving on to new business. Senator Gurley will be presenting Senate Bill 2019-006.
So Senate Bill 2019-006 is for the budget for the Books and Breakfast event. So this will cover all the food and drinks for the event. So we've allotted $5,500 for the event from Senate. And like we said, that'll cover food and everything. And we're still looking into more options on a vegan option, so the price, that's why we allotted a little bit more money than we had talked about in the past.
All right, the floor is now open to comments, questions, and concerns. Vice Chair Chakraborty.
Just another question on, so we're spending 5,500. How much is the
All council is putting 1,500.
1,500? Okay.
So
President Ganda.
Okay, we are not technically supposed to be spending 5,500. That's just a general amount to just put there just in case something happened, because we're still waiting for the vegan options of the council.
I mean,
and we were still considering the option of having a masseuse. You guys know what I mean? In the event, just to let you guys know, that will cost, it's $50 per hour. So think about it.
Senator Benson.
Correction, it's a vegetarian option, not a vegan option. I think we decided on that. I'm not sure, did we decide on that yesterday?
I think Senate did decide on a vegetarian option, yes, last night, yes.
Not exactly a vegan option.
Okay.
Because of the difficulty in finding a vegan option.
Chinese.
So what do your vegan eat?
That's the question. Vice Chair.
So I think the general idea is that vegetarians will be willing to eat eggs and milk, whereas vegans will not touch any animal products like honey, milk, eggs.
It would be more difficult to find vegan options, and it would cost us a lot more to have a vegan option. To accommodate not the greatest number of students.
But President Ganda.
I think we should wait on Picasso response, because he gave us till Friday to give us a feedback about what the supplier is going to offer for vegan option, and when they try it, they test it, they'll let us know, and then we can make our own decision, right? We can't offer any vegan option.
Could Vice Chair.
We always have the option of falling back on fruits and vegetables at the end of the day. It's just like if we can't find a suitable vegan meat substitute, and then we can also have two types of meat or non-vegan options, and then for vegan, just
they do already have like fresh fruit on the menu.
Okay.
If our audience has anything to contribute, they can. I'm more than happy to hear your comments on this, if there are any.
I feel like salad isn't that hard to scrounge up.
Salad?
Vegan.
That's true.
We just want that to be like a last resort option, because vegan meat.
Oh, this is breakfast too.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I mean, I eat salad for breakfast.
Right.
That's just
Maybe I'm just crazy. Yeah.
Maybe some vegans like
Yeah. That's on video now too. Senator Oduro?
Could we do pancakes? Like,
That's on.
do pancakes?
Yeah.
President Gandhi?
Can you list what's on the menu, please?
I don't have it right now. My laptop died, but
Oh, okay.
otherwise I would.
Do you have it off the top of your head? Do you know?
I know there's going to be hash browns, pancakes, eggs, bacon, turkey sausage, fruit, and pastries. And then drinks are tea, coffee, and juices and water.
Can I just make a suggestion? Is I believe there's an egg substitute that cooks like eggs. That maybe our vegans just do made to order omelet.
Mm-hmm.
And so vegans would have to, those people that would need a vegan option could just order their food separate. Instead of having something on the line, that's a vegan option.
And just have that, yeah, that's.
I think that's a possibility.
Senator O'Dea?
Is anyone thought of tofu, or is that, because like breakfast tofu is kind of good, and that's vegan?
Yeah, we can look into that.
Okay.
So so originally we were gonna put 4,000 towards this, and then all council's putting 1,500. So this will allot for any extra that we have to spend on the vegan food and making sure that everyone is accounted for. So.
All right, any comments, questions, and concerns on this bill? Senator Carter?
I think that this will be good, especially as a replacement to the bring your own equipment, which is no longer possible due to the new fire restrictions. I yield.
Vice Chair?
Wait, were you actually serious about the masseurs?
Yes. Yeah, we talked about, oh, you weren't here yesterday. Yeah, we talked about it.
We did, yeah.
And do you know where you might be getting them from, or?
The recreational center.
Okay. Did you guys decide on any hours?
Excuse me? What?
Did you decide on how many hours?
No, not yet, because I just got the response back from the director.
Okay.
That's the amount. So we need to discuss later on if we want to.
And this covers the masseuse amounts as well, if necessary.
It would, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, any other comments or questions on Senate Bill 2019-006? Okay, the floor is now closed. I entertain a motion to adopt Senate Bill 2019-006 as presented. Senator Smith?
I move to adopt Senate Bill 2019-006 as adopted.
As presented.
As presented, sorry.
Is there a second? Senator Carter?
I second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Sorry, that was really quick. Okay, Senate Bill 2019-006 passes. I now yield the floor to Senator Carter to present Senate Bill 2019-007. Bless you.
It's a bill to provide money for food for the next students of Michigan community meeting on April 13th.
All right. I now open the floor to any comments, questions, and concerns. Director Denson.
Yeah, so this is me and Director Oval's monthly meeting with Ann Arbor and Dearborn Student Government. The last two meetings, they have provided food, so the reason we wrote this bill is so that we can do the same in return.
Vice Chair,
I like your strategy of avoiding Picasso.
Director Oval.
Yeah, it's a pretty good idea to avoid Picasso at all costs, honestly.
Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay, the floor is now closed. I entertain a motion to adopt Senate Bill 2019-007 as presented.
I motion to adopt Senate Bill 2019-007 as presented.
Is there a second? Senator Morris. A second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Senate Bill 2019-007 passes. I now yield the floor to Senator Odira to present Senate Bill 2019-008.
This is Senate Bill 2019-008. It is to sponsor the Presidential Leadership Summit. That would be happening this June, I believe, or late July. It will be in order to help our new administration learn more about leadership so we can leaders better. And then I yield.
Thank you. And now open the floor to any comments, questions, or concerns from senators and directors. Director Khan?
Isn't it supposed to go from the admin budget?
President Ganda?
No, this bill has always been sponsored by Senate to cover for the next administration. I know you're saying it because it's just for president and vice president.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that if you like fund this type of event, it will set a precedent for future. Like you're giving example from past events.
This is something that we do every year.
Student government.
Yes, that's what I'm
Right.
saying.
Mm-hmm.
It's not supposed to be like because it's like
Director
executive.
Jensen?
Yes.
So I think the precedent is already set that this is how we pursue governments. In the past, they always came from the next administration's conference, and it is Senate's budget to, I think, spend with their discretion within their power, and I think they're doing that. So,
Director Khan, did I cut you off? I'm sorry if you were trying to finish your point.
That's okay.
Did you want to complete that?
No, I'm saying if it's only the executives of student government are sponsored by Senate, and the other people are not, sponsored. Something to think about for future.
President Ganda?
Like other student organizations can come to student government, to Senate, to ask for funding for trips as well. If they already exhaust their options, they're free to come.
Something to think about.
Right.
Thank you.
I'm confused now, but you have enough in the admin budget, right? Like, this is not a budgetary issue, this is just a tradition.
Yeah, it just generally comes. Yeah. I'll just add that as someone who went on this trip previously, I think it's an excellent experience for incoming president and vice presidents because I think that they teach great skills, leadership skills, organizing skills, and I just think it's really important. It's a great experience here in DC. You get to meet and collaborate with other presidents and vice presidents from all over the country. It's a great networking opportunity. So I genuinely hope you guys have a good time and you learn a lot. Take a notebook and take a lot of notes.
And so I can explain the historical perspective of why Senate sends the president and the vice president is that it is a more transparent process for there to be a vote to use student fee money for this trip versus it coming out of the admin budget and for there to be a perception of scrutiny or secrecy about they're spending our money to go to these conferences. And so it's always been Senate who votes to say we are sending them and supporting them financially. So that's historically where it comes from.
Does anyone else want to add anything? All right, the floor is now closed. I entertain a motion to adopt Senate Bill 2019-008. Senator Carter?
Move to adopt Senate Bill 2019-008. As presented, sorry.
Is there a second? Senator Rowland?
A second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Senate Bill 2019-008 passes. I now yield the floor to Senator Bedard to present the last bill of the night, Senate Bill 2019-009.
So this bill's gonna cover, going to sponsor a funding board lunch at their last meeting. Gonna cover the cost of food and drinks. That idea. It is $100, sorry, now I do.
Thank you. I know it's on the floor.
For real? Like, why was this like?
I think I'm gonna let Director Khan answer that.
Yes, actually, we have in our funding board, we have 2 general students. So basically, it was a proposal from them that we should have a lunch together in the last meeting. So we basically agreed, everyone basically agreed, and I really thought that this amount, should be, spent from a typical admin budget. But, somehow we heard yesterday that it's coming out from Senate, and even though I'll be, getting benefit from this proposed bill, but I also think that this type of bill should be covered from the admin budget, because when you are passing a bill or a resolution, you're setting a precedence, and it will be sort of a tradition for the next years. So.
Director Johnson.
I think going back to what we talked about a little bit with the last bill, I think that if we are spending student fee money, it is better to show that in an open meeting where the students are here and where it's live streamed, and it is a more transparent process.
Thank you.
Oh, that's just what I was gonna say, going back to Julie's point, that it's more transparent if it comes out of the Senate.
Vice Chair.
Is $100 enough?
I think
Yes.
there's only, how many people are in the funding board?
5 or 6. Anything not spent will go back to the budget.
Yeah,
I don't mean to be like, I don't mean to be annoying, but I mean, there's so many other committees that we have during the school year, and there's so many students that sit on it as well as directors, and so I just think it's kind of weird that we're only doing it for funding board, not these other committee meetings or director meetings.
Vice Chair, this is the only committee in student government that has non-student government members on it that have volunteered all year. That's the impetus behind it.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, they are not paid to be on funding board, the students that volunteer to do that. All right, anybody else? Senator Gold?
I guess my only question is, why'd you choose $100? I mean, with the $100, you have to go through Picasso versus 75.
So they will be getting a food at Picasso.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
We literally just plan on walking over to Picasso.
And he's also a member of
Okay. Anyone else have any comments or questions or concerns on Senate Bill 2019-00? 9? Okay. All right. I entertain a motion to adopt Senate Bill 2019-009 as presented. Senator Morris.
A motion to adopt Senate Bill 2019-009 as presented.
Is there a second? Senator Sturgeon.
I second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. Any opposed?
He can vote. I don't think there's an issue.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Oh, abstaining? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yes, that makes sense. All right. Senate Bill 2019-009 passes. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Before I open the floor to any comments, questions, and concerns from the senators and directors, are there any from our audience tonight? Yes.
How does student government intend to respond to Mark Perry?
Anyone want to respond to that? Vice Chair?
We've already talked about this in the past, and as student government, we're not responding to Mark Perry directly. However, I'll let them answer the rest.
Director Dunson?
Yeah, so as Vice Chair said, we are not sending a direct response to Mark Perry in the situation. We did vote last week to issue a response to the university and like a call to action to the university. But student government did take a vote to not respond directly to him. It wasn't unanimous, but he did take it.
Why is student government choosing not to respond to Mark Perry when student government initiated the conversation?
Anyone want to reply to that? Director Armstrong?
It wasn't like an easy conclusion to come to, as like in regards to voting, it had to be a majority vote. And so the majority vote led to not responding. And if you're asking like specifically why those people individually chose like not to respond, then that's more of like an individual question on student government. So if there's any individuals that would like to respond as to why they chose not to.
Thank you. Senator Bede?
I just want to say, it wasn't exactly a conversation that we started. We just condemned certain actions, and that's just an opinion. So it's just disapproval and opinion. It's not exactly starting a conversation with a person. That is it.
Vice Chair?
I'll be frank and tell you the reasons why I didn't go for it. It's because it's not worth it. There are some people that are just not worth taking fights with. He's had, what, 15 other complaints against universities? He's not going to stop just if we put out another response. It's better to take your time, see how the university responds, and then move forward from that.
Senator Smith?
Just like everybody else says, I mean, whether we respond to him or not, he's gonna continue doing what he's doing. Us sending him a response or message is not gonna stop him from keep going on. He will respond back to what we said, and then we have to keep, it's just on and on, and you can't just let him be who he is.
Director Hamdani?
For me personally, in regards to his response, I felt that it was something university heads needed to respond to and facilitate further discussion with, because his approach and mannerism wasn't something that I felt was suitable for just a student to respond to.
Director Salisbury?
I also wanted to point out that if we were to, and this was discussed amongst ourselves as well, if we were to come up with a response to him directly, that would take away from our original intention. And our original intention was to elevate Black Girls Code at Wayne State. And there was some concern among members that if we were going to respond, we need to elevate it to where it's a message of positivity rather than confrontation. Yield.
Director Dunson?
Yeah, I think everybody made valid points. Like I said, the decision was not unanimous. I would have elected to respond to Mark Perry. And I do agree with you that I do think that we opened the door for that conversation and we backed away from the conversation. So, there you go.
Thank you. Anyone else? Just so you know what student government's doing now, we've actually formed a committee to plan a resolution as a next. The resolution is to ask the university to respond, and so it's a call to action to the university to kind of act up on this and see what they can do in situations like this where it could occur in the future.
So here's the gag. So I hear what you're saying about, like, you know, it may not be worth it and things like that, but is that not the point of student government and government in general? Like, confrontation, that's what happens in government, and you guys are part of student government, so that should be like part of your job. Like, you shouldn't back away from the fight when confrontation occurs. And I know the point of doing this was like to encourage the committee that, you know, he was going against in this case, but you can still like create a response that still encourages the committee that he was going against, like it's not a bad thing to respond and to fight back. It's not a negative thing to do so.
Vice Chair?
When you talk about normal government, yes, they have the power backing their words. We have nothing. We don't even have the university backing us.
Senator Smith?
Our main focus here at student government is the student body of this university. I think we have more important things to worry about here, what goes on here, than to worry about him misinterpreting an opinion that we came up with. We're not backing away from anything. I voted to not respond. And I don't feel like I didn't back away from the statement that we wrote, condemning the fact that he's trying to derail Black Girls Code. I didn't back away from that. But again, our main focus on this committee here, the student government, is the student body of this university, not Mark Perry. Mm-hmm. Now, he took what we said and twisted it. Whether we respond to uplift Black Girls Code, he's gonna twist it again. Regardless of what response you do, he's gonna find a way to twist it. That's just the type of person he is. And people like that, you just can't give the light of day. Just let them play with themselves and keep till they get tired. Eventually, they'll shut the hell up. I yield.
Anyone else? Director Hani, in regards to what you posed, I mean, like Vice Chair Chakrabarty said, it's extremely difficult when we don't have the university backing us. And so the dynamic that University of Michigan-Flint brings is that we have a lot of international students, we have a lot of commuting students, we have a lot of different kinds of students. And so in regards to what risk these individual students on student government would take without having that backing is something that plays an important role in how the majority might choose to want to respond and how to approach the situation.
Senator Sturgeon?
As part of the future administration of student government, I will be pursuing to host an event about Title IX, what it is, what students can do in certain situations like this, so that in the future, when stuff like this happens, people will be more informed about exactly what it is and what they can do. So that can be an indirect response as well. And with that, I yield.
Director
I would just like to say that Mark Perry's a moron, first of all. He really doesn't have the brain cells that a rock has, honestly. I think the university and anybody at the university who didn't fight against Mark Perry or fight for the elimination of him from the university, they should be ashamed of themselves. I think the university has disgraced itself in allowing this man to be employed here and even paying him a penny. I think anything short of a public firing and pure just shaming of Mark Perry is unacceptable.
Vice Chair Chakrabarty?
That is, I wouldn't say that's the entire student government general, point of view, but I will say this. When a university doesn't step in to protect its students, who are representing all of its students from threats of lawsuits, that's just really embarrassing for the university, especially from one of its own professors.
Okay, so we're just gonna, did you have one thing to say?
Yeah. I just like part of the conversation, I think, is about how the university hasn't supported us and we don't feel supported, and I agree with that. But I think part of our conversation tonight is about that, like, us as student government are powerless. And I think that's concerning. We are supposed to be the voice of the students, and if we feel powerless, then the students don't actually have any power or any voice. And we should not be accepting that, and that needs to change.
Thank you, okay. So we're just gonna leave it at that for now. Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Yes.
Okay.
I feel that I am a student here and I don't feel represented by this decision. I feel that majority of the students at this university would agree with me, and
especially you guys are students here as well. If you feel that the university is not backing you up, why would you allow the university to like take over the situation? Why would you not want to step in? And I know that you guys feel that especially for the international students, there are risks involved, but if he's threatening lawsuit, like what exactly could he even do? I mean, does he even have a case? Like, because you really didn't do anything wrong. You know, you're just saying the truth. So I don't see why it's something to even be afraid of. And I feel that this mentality that student government is, not all of you, but like I feel that what student government in general is representing right now, with kind of just kind of brushing it off, and letting the university handling it. I feel that mentality, if that's what a lot of groups have, and nothing would be accomplished, because there was a time when, like, you know, women's groups and like minority groups and any type of group that has to get things done, like they didn't have people to back them up. But then when you have a person who's saying horrible things about groups of people and like clearly just being like basically a troll, and you're not willing to fight back, like nothing's getting done here and it's worth the risk to fight back, I just feel like. And honestly, like, we're students, like what is he gonna do? You know, like sue? Is there a case?
All right, we have Director Ogle, Ahmadani, and then President Ghana.
Just to respond to your one question about if he has a case, he does not have a case. The University General Counsel, so the attorneys for the university, has said he doesn't have a case. He's really only bringing these threats forward to intimidate student government and to intimidate the university. Like I said earlier, he's an idiot. He has no case.
All right, Director Ahmadani. In regards to like how that affects other students on campus, or at least these students on student government, there were 4 students that were mentioned, and well, first of all, there's 3 news outlets that have like used our like argument, which is totally fine because, you know, we put that out there. But 3 news outlets, it's Breitbart, Long Room, and
College Fix.
The College Fix have all like presented our stuff, and you know, a concern to that is when your name goes public on like websites like these in the future, it can affect like where you're applying, where you're going, and so it might not be as concerning for students that aren't international students, but for those that are, you know, we really don't know what the state of our political climate is, and so if that hurts immigration, if that hurts student visas, like these are things that students were and are concerned about when their names are being used. And a fair argument to that is, you know, we obviously joined student government knowing that like we were going out here to do work and to put ourselves out there for the student voice and student body. But I think to the extent of what risk everyone is willing to take, that's very personal and it's very hard to equate to the whole student body.
I just feel that, I'm sorry, did somebody?
President Ghana just wanted to reply.
I was among the people that said no, because I personally have an encounter with him in the past before, and once you stop talking to him, he'll just drop it.
But
in this specific subject, he was let's say we throw the punch to him first, and now he's coming for us. And certain things we're not expecting of him, like certain words that he used in the response or whatnot. I think the reason why some people chose, and they already said that, not to respond is just continuing. It's just a infinite war, which is not worth it to fight with him. The reason why we're calling the university to action, let the university deal with him. He's an employee of the university. We can't fire this person.
He's tenure too.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know how long this man has in this university, but it's not that long. Let the university have repercussion or consequences for him. That's what we are saying. And I want this, can we wrap this up, because with the last comment?
Can I have the last comment?
We have Senator Bedard and Senator and Vice Chair Chakraborty.
I just want to say that in no way do I want students, or you in particular, to feel like you're not being represented. If there's anything that comes down to things we can help with, you can always bring it up, and we can honestly help to a certain extent, and we will push to that extent. But to go beyond that and risk personal careers and affairs would be slightly unfair. So I just want to say that if you have anything else, don't feel like you're not being represented, or we're not here to do anything for you.
Vice Chair Shapiro-T?
I would just like to point out that it's not just that he's threatened to sue the whole student government as a group, because there's strength in numbers. He wanted to individually single us out. And I believe he individually said, like he said all of our individual names to the LGA office too or something?
BRT, Bias Response Team.
Bias Response Team. So the thing is, it's not that we don't want to take action, because in a group, you can move forward much better. However, when someone with that much power comes to you individually, and you don't have somebody of equal or more power backing you, you're very much what's the most polite word I can say here?
Disadvantaged.
Yes, as you know, I yield.
God, just a small like thing. You're saying like he couldn't be fired because he is tenured, but it seems like he has been like, you all have gotten like emails from him, like threats of suing and stuff like that. If you were to go to the university, like, would that, and tell them about this, would this be considered harassment for them? And if it is, all of you, like you said, there is strength in numbers. So you don't have to go to him directly. Like, you can still go through the school. You just need to badger the school a little bit more, maybe, and like let them know, hey, he is making me feel unsafe and uncomfortable, threatening me personally for something that we did as an organization that was not even like something illegal or anything that we did. Freedom of speech is a thing. You're allowed to speak your mind, and the fact that he is threatening to sue you could put you on edge, and that could be considered harassment. So that's a possible thing.
And the committee that's been formed is looking into a lot of these things already, so thank you for bringing that up.
I think my main concern is that Mark Perry has been successful at taking women's resources away at several universities in the past. Like, it's actually happened. Like, he's actually trashed women's spaces. If he could trash my place of work, he would. And that terrifies me. So, I mean, in Title IX is so much, it's not only about allocating equal resources to all students on campus, but it's about ensuring that the learning environment remains non-hostile. So, I mean, in a way, if individuals or the entire student body here does agree that Mark Perry is making this environment a hostile learning environment for women, which he is, then he is the one that's in violation of Title IX. And that would be like a really good thing to start with, talking to the university for. And I think the other biggest concern that I have is like, what's the plan for us as a whole to force the university to be on our side, to actually do something about Mark Perry? Because I feel like if the decision is being left up to him, the university as a whole, then we need to find a way to make sure that they make the decision that we want. We should pressure them in some way, shape, or form. And that's not something that's beyond our reach.
Thank you. Thank you for that comment. Yeah, thank you so much. We'll take one more comment on this. Senator Morris.
Okay, one of the big things with Mark Perry, and I understand we all want to have the response, is he knows what he's doing, and it's really hard to, like, it's a very sad thing to understand. He knows what he's doing. We just need to be that reason that the university has that actually finds the violation. The reason we can't do anything, that people in the past haven't been able to do anything, is because he knew what he was doing. In this situation, he may have crossed the line. If we can go and respond to that, then we can do something. That's how we get the university on our side. That's for things like that.
Are we still waiting on the committee for the response about the situation?
The committee has been formed to create the resolution that's a call to action to the university. And we'll be taking all of these things into consideration. And I'd be happy to speak to both of you afterwards if you want, to get more of your input on this. But we do have to close this conversation now. Okay, were there any other comments that anyone had to share? Okay, any comments from the directors and senators?
I just kind of wanted to thank you guys for coming out and sharing your opinion, because we do represent the students in the school, and through this whole process, I've heard very little from students. So I think it's awesome that you guys came out and made your voices heard, so thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, as you said, we really thank you for coming out and speaking out. We hear you loud and clear. And after this, after the public meeting, we're gonna have a closed session. Thank you. Advisor?
Didn't approve and moved on to comments, questions from us.
Yeah, we're there.
Can I shift gears?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I don't want, if we want to finish this conversation.
No, I already moved on.
A few random things, please don't forget to RSVP for.
Yes, I am.
All right, we'll see you at Celebrating Wolverine Excellence next week. The last question is, when is pay board?
April 18th.
April 18th, please write it down, exec board. April 18th is the pay board meeting, immediately following this meeting.
All right, are there any other comments or questions or concerns from any senators or directors? All right, meeting adjourned, 7:49 p.m.
Don't move. We're having a closed.